this week? Okay, let's clap your hands, especially for those who came back. Okay, so last week, your speakers talked about who is Jesus Christ, right? And then he reminded you what's the meaning of this crucifix in front of you. It reminds us of how much God loves each one of us, right? Not this one, but this one. Okay, right? Tama yun? And there's only one thing that God desires for all of us. So what is it, if you still remember what the speaker told you last week? The God's desire is, di ba, for all of us to be in heaven with Him when our time on earth is up. Di ba ganun yun? So actually, brothers and sisters, what our speakers told you last week and what I'm going to tell you today is nothing new. Alam nyo na yan, di ba? You know that already. Alam nyo na how God loves you and what is His desires for you. So what is the difference now? The difference now is, this time, you are called to witness. Everything you know about God, hindi na dapat nandito lang, in the brain, in the mind. This time, you need to do something about it. You need to act on it. Okay? So I want to share the story with you. If you remember when Jerwin told you how he was bribed to attend the seminar like this before, how his tito bribed him, right? Or, okay, if you want to get your children, you need to come here, where there's CLP happening. That's it. So, with me and my husband, our story is like this. Actually, you know that me and Jerwin are classmates that time. We attended the same CLP 25 years ago. I know, mula akong bata, but actually, 52 years old na ako, okay? I know that, okay. So, 25 years ago, when, actually 27, me and my husband are just still single. So we're just girlfriend, boyfriend. We are working here. And a lot of our friends are already member of the community. Every time there will be CLS, they will be inviting us to attend. But me and my husband are very good in the game of hide and seek. Whenever there's CLS coming, we will just hide from our friends so that we will not attend. And then, fast forward after 2 years, we got married, and then the same friends, what we will do is after working in Bangkok, we move to Pattaya to work. But most of our friends are in Bangkok. So what we will do is, we will drive, although wala pa kaming kotse, so we will just take a bus from Pattaya to Bangkok on a Saturday night. So that we could be with our friends playing. The boys will be playing tennis, and then the girls will be cooking for dinner. And we will stay in one of our friends' house to eat dinner there, and then watch TV, and then sleep over. And then the following day, which is Sunday, syempre, we need to go to Mass. So after Mass, what will happen is, our friends who are already member of the community, they need to go somewhere for a household meeting. While me and my husband was not members yet, so we will be left behind. So parang, wow, sila, they still have activities together, but us, we will be left alone because we cannot attend because we're not members yet, right? So when the CLP comes again, that time when they invited us, we attended. So what is the purpose? What is our purpose? Our purpose before is so that we will become a member. We will become involved. So that hindi na kami maghihiwa-hiwala on Sundays. We will all be together until Sunday and attending our household. So that is the purpose. Only to get involved. Little did we know that we will not be just involved, but we will be committed. then we will become unit servants. And up to now, we are actually living in Bangkok now. But our service is in Chonburi. So mostly every weekend, we will be traveling to Chonburi to serve the community. So we didn't expect that we will become this committed to do the work of the Lord. So, yun. We want to share the Lord because of the goodness of the love that we experience. So now, I want to start the talk or the topic with this verse from the Bible. It is taken from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 11. God said, God made everything fitting in its time. So, brothers and sisters, it is your time now. You are here in this room because it is time for you to share God's love to others by starting with attending this seminar. So, how do you start being involved? So, you need to start by living an authentic Christian life. Okay, now, raise your hands if you are a Catholic. Okay, good. Raise your hands if you are a Christian. Uy, dapat nag-shine. Catholic is a Christian, brothers and sisters. So dapat you are still raising your hands. Okay, the question now is, are you living an authentic Christian life? If you are living an authentic Christian life, raise your hands. Okay, I understand. Maybe some of you didn't really know what it is to live an authentic Christian life. There are 3 dimensions. It is meeting Christ, living Christ, and sharing Christ. Okay, let us discuss each one more deeply so we will understand. What does it mean to meet Christ? Okay? To meet Christ is to know Christ. And to know Christ is to have a personal relationship with Him. So Jesus is not just in that crucifix. He is alive and He wants to have a personal relationship with you. How do you do that? Well, by praying, by reading the scriptures, or going to Mass, or seminars like this. This is where you will really know and meet Christ. Okay, now you already know Christ, you already know, you meet Him already, and you are now having a personal relationship with Him. Then, we need to live Christ. Okay? So living Christ is to respond to the call to holiness and discipleship. Just like what He said in the first letter of St. Peter, chapter 1, verse 15 to 16. It says here, imitate the one who called you, as He is holy. So you too be holy in all your conduct, since the Scripture says, be holy as I am holy. So to live Christ is to be holy because He is holy. And further on, He said in that book, in the Gospel of St. Matthew, chapter 5, verse 48, He said, as for you, be perfect as your heavenly Father is perfect. So sabi, living Christ, be holy because I am holy. Be perfect as I am perfect. And lastly, to become a true disciples of Christ, you need to be in the Gospel of St. Luke, chapter 9, verse 23. It says, Jesus also said to all the people, if you wish to be a follower of me, deny yourself and take up your cross each day and follow me. So, to be Christ's disciple, we need to be ready for self-denial. We need to embrace our cross. And we need to follow Jesus. So brothers and sisters, if you are in a situation right now, if you are carrying a cross, if you are in a problem right now, it is a part of following Jesus Christ. So, yeah, don't worry. We are all carrying also our cross. Next, share Christ. Now, after knowing Christ, you develop a personal relationship with Him. Then you will start living Christ. So we need to be holy, we need to be perfect, we need to be ready for self-denial, carry our cross, and follow Jesus. This time, sharing Christ is to be a witness of Jesus through our day-to-day life. By showing people how we conduct our life as a Christian, and by sharing our love that we get to others. Now, what I want you to do is look around this room and look for the person who invited you here and say thank you to him or her. Can you do it? You know, I asked you to say thank you to them because the main reason they invited you is because they love you. Because they want to share the love that they are getting from Jesus to you. And they love you because they want you to be with Him also in heaven, our true home when our time is up here on earth. You know, thank you sa mga nag-participate dyan. Okay. Now, further, to live Christ, to share Christ, and to know Christ, we need to be a true witness of God's love by living an authentic Christian life. So, Jesus gave us two very important commandments. And this we can find in the Gospel of St. Mark, chapter 12, 28 to 31. Let us read what is these two greatest commandments. One of the scribes, when he came forward and heard them disputing, and saw how well we had answered them, asked him, which is the first of the commandments? Jesus replied, the first is this, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than this. So, brothers and sisters, two greatest commandments. Love God with all our heart, with all our mind, with all our strength, and with all our soul. And the second is loving our neighbor. Now, the question is, how should we love God? Okay, let's see. Okay, so it is mentioned earlier, love God with all our heart, with all our soul, with all our mind, and all our strength. So let us discuss each one. What does it mean to love God with all our heart? To love God with all our heart means to be totally committed with Him. So because when we talk about commitment, so for married couple, their commitment is to their spouse. For the singles here, those who have Gigi, do you know what Gigi? Hindi galunggong ha? Gigi is God's gift. If you have your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your commitment is to them, right? To your girlfriend or boyfriend. For the parents, commitment to their children. But when we say we love God with all our heart, it is giving our whole life. It is putting their interests and their likes above our own interests and likes. So, our whole life, our whole world, our whole decision is committed to Jesus. And when we love God with all our heart, it is our decision to seek God first and foremost. It is our decision to put God first, to be loyal to Him, to place His will and interest above our own. So, how do we put the Lord first in our life? It requires a decision to obey Him. Just like what we can see in the Gospel of St. John, chapter 14 to 15, it says here, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. So, meaning, we need, if we love our God, we need to have this decision to obey Him. Okay? We need to develop a personal relationship with Him. We need a relationship that is dynamic and alive, not just legalistic or sterile na magdadasal ako kasi kailangan ko magdasal, tinuruan ako. It should not be like that. Kasi when we say having a personal relationship with the Lord, there should be a regular communication. It's just like having your friend. If you have your friend, you want to communicate with them, di ba? And when you say communication, in the form of prayers to the Lord, we are not the only one talking. We need to have time also to listen to the answer of God to you. So how do you listen? It can be in a different kind of forms, like the Lord listen to you or answer your prayers through your friends or through your leader in a community. It can be in different forms. Now, next, what does it mean to love God with all our mind? To love God with all our mind, meaning to serve God with the use of our mind. Or to use our mind to think of how we can better serve and love God. Or simply to make our mind available for God's purposes. And it can be also applied to the world progress. So I researched about a list of the Catholic scientists. So there's a lot of names that came out in my research, but I chose only 3. Bakit 3 lang? Maraming famous Catholic scientists, but I chose these 3 because these 3 whose inventions I'm enjoying right now or using right now. Oh, and who are they? First, Saint Giuseppe Moscati. Who is Saint Giuseppe Moscati? He is in the field of biochemistry. And his research led to the discovery of insulin as a cure for diabetes. So, you don't know, brothers and sisters, I am a diabetic. So, his invention, I am benefiting right now. Next is Blaise Pascal. Blaise Pascal is a Catholic theologian and the inventor of the first calculator. For the engineers, his contributing Pascal's triangle and probability theory. The third is Louis Pasteur. Louis Pasteur proved that boiling a liquid kills the germ. So, we are enjoying his invention now. If you are loving pasteurized milk and dairy products, so he is the one who invented that. So, there's a lot of scientists that contributed to the betterment of the world. But of course, meron ding scientists na contributed to the destruction. Like, di ba if you know Robert Oppenheimer, who discovered the first atomic bomb that destroys Hiroshima. So yun. But of course, we don't need to be scientists to use our mind to serve the Lord. Kasi baka mamaya, matagal pa yun, di ba? Baka hindi na natin abutin. But how can we use our mind right now to serve the Lord? Here. So, we need to keep our mind clean and holy. Siyempre, if our mind is polluted with lies and gossips, of course, we cannot use it to serve the Lord, di ba? We need to keep our mind free of all evil and uncharitable thoughts. We need to be discerning on how to use the TV or the internet, social media, We need to be discerning on what we share and post in Facebook. Diba? We need to make sure that what we are sharing can inspire instead of destruction to someone else. Okay. Next, what it means to love God with all our strength. This means making all our resources available for God. Our 3Ts. What are those 3Ts? Our time, talent, and treasures. Remember, brothers and sisters, that we are God's creation. We are His. And everything that we have, our talent, our time, and money, it is just lent to us. So we need to be a good steward for that. If you remember the parable of the talents in the Bible, remember that parable when this master left talents to his servants. One, he gave 5 talents. The other, he gave 2 talents. And the other one, he gave 1. So just like us, we were given different talents. Some of you might have more than talents than the other one. Or some of you might have less talent than your seatmate right now. But all the same, we are called, each one of us, the same. We need to be responsible for these talents that we get. We have the responsibility to manage and use well these resources given to us by the Lord. We must act according to God's interest. So, what are the concrete steps that we can use all this talent or strength in our day-to-day life? First, with the money or with treasure, we need to develop a proper attitude towards our money. Bakit? Di ba kasi we all know that money is the cause of all evil. Di ba? Money can break someone who is really good. But money can break that person. So dapat, we need to be very, develop a proper attitude to use this. So it is also a great stumbling block sa mga Christian to into holiness. So, how do we use our treasure? By first tithing, giving to the church, or resource sharing your treasure to those who are in need, almsgiving. How about our time? So, we need to seek God's direction on what we can do with our time. So look for opportunities to spend our time for God's purposes. Instead of maybe soaking into using the internet the whole day when you have holiday, why don't you spend that time to volunteer in the church work or in the orphanages? Diba? So how about your talent? Siguro if you have a good voice, you can volunteer to be a member of the choir, or as a lecturer in the church. Or maybe if you're a teacher, you can volunteer as a catechist in the church. There's a lot of opportunities that we can use our talent. Now, next. What does it mean to love God with all our soul? We are to love God with our whole being. Emotional, spiritual, mental, physical. The love of God must engage the whole person. We cannot just choose our part of ourselves to love God. Kailangan everything. We cannot say, oh, anyway, I already go to Mass last Sunday. I think I don't need to pray every day anymore. No, it doesn't work like that. Or maybe you will say, oh, I am already helping my family in the Philippines financially. So do I still need to give tithing to the church or to give almsgiving? Hindi ganun yun. It doesn't work like that. So everything, you cannot just choose everything, your whole being, you need to devote for loving God. So these are, you just heard the requirements of loving God. Love God with our whole being, with the totality of ourselves. Now, that's the first commandment. How about the second commandment? So, loving our neighbor, the second most important commandment. So loving our neighbor, actually, most people find it very hard to do. Bakit? Kasi look at the screen, di ba? Hindi naman sinabi na love your neighbor, just love your neighbor. Merong kadikit yun eh. Love your neighbor as yourself. Ganun ba talaga, Lord? Dapat ba how I love my neighbor the same as how I love myself? Hindi ba pwedeng konting na lang? Hindi na lahat, hindi na katulad sa pagmamahal ko sa sarili ko. Do I really need to love my neighbor as myself? How about that neighbor of mine that is Marites? Diba? Or my boss na si Miranda Priestley that the devil wears Prada. Do I really need to love her also? Pwede ba yun? What do you think is the answer? No. Okay. Loving God and loving your neighbor go together. Because loving God and loving our neighbor is the core of our Christian life. You cannot just have one without the other. Bakit? Bakit hindi pwede isa lang? You can see it in the first letter of St. John, chapter 4, verse 20 to 21. Let us find out what it says. Okay. It says here, if you say, I love God, while you hate your brother or sister, you are a liar. How can you love God, whom you do not see, if you do not love your brother, whom you see? So, we receive it from Him, this commandment. Let those who love God also love their brothers. So, it is very clear, brothers and sisters. No love for others, no Christianity. Okay? So now the question, how can we love our neighbor the Christian way? So, what do we mean by Christian love? But before we can understand the real meaning of what Christian love is, let us discuss first what Christian love is not. Okay. Christian love is not only having positive feelings. Okay? So, all of you looks like really young. But does any one of you know what is a slum book? Have you ever heard about that? Slum book?
Yes.
Okay. Si ate, alam mo yan. Mga 80s, di ba? So, for those who do not know what slum book is kind of like what the craze for the high school and elementary in the 80s. These teenagers will make their notebook into a slum book. It's kind of like personalized bio data. They will put their name, nickname. Why do they do this? This is one of the ways for the girls to know more about their crush before. Kasi, bakit? Kasi, if their crush is in the same class, they will ask their crush, you write naman in my slum book. Syempre, write niya, no? And on the other hand, the crush will also know about this girl because ano din yung data niya. So one of the famous question in the slum book is, what is love? What is crush? And the most famous or common answers of the teenagers before in that question, what is love, is this. Love is the feeling that you feel. When you feel a feeling that you never felt before. What is the connection of this about this? Love is not only having positive feeling. Kasi, in the world right now, they always, when you talk about love to people, they always equate it to having positive feelings. Or the feelings of sexual attraction. personal affection, warmth, or what I really feel about this person. But for most people, feelings can change. So, what if you say, oh, I love you right now, and then tomorrow your feelings change? You can just say, oh, I don't love you anymore because my feelings changed already. So it can be, feelings, it can be the sole basis for love. Now, am I saying that feelings is not important? No, feelings is important. Because usually, it follows true love. But then, it cannot be the sole basis for love. Love is not equated to feelings. Next, what love is not? Love is not always saying yes. Sometimes if we thought that I'm trying to be a very loving person, I need to be always agreeable. I need to always say yes to people. But the truth is, to serve others does not mean never turning down opportunities to serve. What if, for example, somebody's borrowing money from you, but you do not have money? Of course, you will say no, kasi wala ka namang papautang, di ba? Or what if somebody's asking or borrowing money from you? Yes, you might have money, but then you have an important use for it, like paying the tuition of your sister in the Philippines or buying medicines for your sick parents. Of course, you will say no. Or another example, someone is borrowing money from you, pero you know that this person is going to use this also to buy or pay for his vices. Siyempre, you will say no, di ba? You will not give it because you know it will cause bad for him. So, ibig sabihin, we should not have this wrong impression of being that nice guy who always try to please everyone. Next, love is not self-seeking. A Christian is defined as a person for others. Here in love that is not self-seeking, that means the focus of loving is certainly not ourselves, but others. We cannot say that I love you because I'm feeling good, because I'm getting something out of it. But when the time comes that you don't feel good anymore, or you're not getting good from it anymore, then goodbye, I don't love you anymore. So, love is not like that. And by its very nature, Christian love is ready for self-denial. So these are the three characteristics what Christian love is not. So then, what is Christian love? What does it mean when say Christian love? In here, in the Gospel of St. John, chapter 15, verse 9 to 10, it says, as a Father has loved me, so I have loved you. Remain in my love. You will remain in my love if you keep my commandments, just I have kept my Father's commandments and remain in his love. So excuse me lang po. Inom lang po. So in this Bible verse, Jesus is talking about a love that is connected to keeping God's commandments. There can be no Christian love apart from righteousness. Loving is not compatible with sinning. Okay? You cannot say, I love God, but you are favoring same-sex marriage. You cannot say, I love God, but you are in a living-in situation, or having a premarital sex, or condoning wrongdoing. Because love, Christian love, is not compatible with sinning. Also, Jesus is very, very specific on how we are to love. So how? It is in the same chapter, verse 15. This is my commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. So we should love the way Jesus loved. And we are not free to change or dilute Jesus' direction to suit our own needs. And the question now is, how does Jesus love? It is in the same Gospel of St. John, chapter 15, verse 13. It says here, there is no greater love than this, to give one's life for one's friend. So here, Jesus' love is by dying on the cross. Jesus' way of love is a self-sacrificial love. It is not just giving your time or praying for others or imparting wisdom. Well, of course, those are good. But it is not just love, just that. It is giving our all, even our own life. Giving until nothing is of to give because we even give our very own life. But of course, most of us will not be called to die for others, di ba? And syempre, pagdasal naman natin na we will not be in that situation where you need to die or to prove your love. How then we can translate love into practical everyday terms? We can find it in this episode of foot washing. You can see it during Holy Thursday when Jesus washed the feet of the disciples. Why is this a very profound example of loving our neighbors? Bakit? Kasi in this episode, in the olden times, in Jesus' time, all the roads are not pavement yet. Parang lupa pa siya. And there's no public transportation yet. There's no car. There is no tricycle yet. So the means of traveling is done by walking or riding the camel. So the road is very dusty. So it umuulan, it can be muddy. So people use the same road as well as the animals. So when when your guests come visit your house, the first act of hospitality the host will do is to wash the feet of the guests before entertaining in the home. And this task is usually given to the lowest servant of the house. But in this episode, it is Jesus that did the foot washing. The one they called our teacher, the one they called our rabbi, is the one washing the disciples' feet. So, what does it imply? So, this episode proved that Jesus' love is, Christian love is a committed service. So it is not just dying in the cross. To love the person is to serve that person. So loving is a committed service. So, I just shared with you what Christian love is now. How Jesus loved. Now, in the commandments, it says, love your neighbor. So, question, who is our neighbor? Yung ba yung next door? Yung ba yung your spouse, your sister? Yun lang ba yung the people that you love and care about? Well, I can certainly do that to the people or the person I love. I can do that. But that neighbor of mine who is so boastful in the internet, showing always her branded bag, there's a boss mong ang masungit. Well, I can certainly do that. But really, who is my neighbor? So, we can say, who is my neighbor in the parable of the Good Samaritan. Okay, if you remember that. So let us read the parable of the Good Samaritan in the Gospel of St. Luke chapter 10, verse 29 to 37. Okay, here. The man wanted to justify his question, so he asked, "Who is my neighbor?" Jesus then said, "There was a man going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him, beat him, and went off leaving him half dead. It happened that a priest was going along that road and saw the man, but passed by on the other side. Likewise, a Levite saw the man, and passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, who also was going that way, and when he came upon the man, he was moved with compassion. He went over to him and cleansed his wounds with oil and wine, and wrapped them in bandages. Then he put him on his own mount and brought him to an inn, where he took care of him. The next day, he had to set off, but he gave 2 silver coins to the innkeeper and said, "Take care of him, and whatever you spend on him, I will repay when I return." Jesus then asked, "Which of these 3 do you think made himself neighbor?" "The man who fell into the hands of robbers." The teacher of the law answered, "The one who had mercy on him." And Jesus said, "Then go and do the same." So let us examine this parable. Before you get mad to the priest and the Levite in the story, let us understand first, maybe they have a good reason of not taking care of the man. So I think the man who's on the ground is a Jew, okay? And the priest is Jew also. So, in their time, when the priest, so maybe the priest has some important thing to do. Maybe he needs to say mass to this area, so that's why he is on that way. And then in those times, when a priest touched a dead person, kasi maybe he thought that the man is dead already. So when a priest touch a dead person or a corpse, that they will become unclean. So when a priest is unclean, you cannot do your job, you cannot do any service unless you do yung cleansing. But cleansing in that time is not just a simple washing of hands with soap. No, there's a lot of ritual to do before you become clean again. So maybe he's really in a important job to do. That's why, okay, anyway, he's dead. I think he's dead already. I will just go. The same with the Levite. The Levite is a priestly class in the Jew. So the same thing. So maybe he thought that the man is dead already. That's why he just went. But the Samaritan, who is the Samaritan? Samaritan are Jews that intermarried other religion. So, before kasi, if you're a Jew, you need to marry a Jew also. But this Jew, a Samaritan now, married a Gentile, or not a Jew. So, now, Samaritan and the Jews are sworn enemy because of this. So, parang mortal na kaaway yan. So, di ba, a mortal enemy, a sworn enemy, is the one who helped his enemy. So, what is the implication of this story to our question? Who is our neighbor? Our neighbor is anyone, any person who needs our help. If we are in the position to help, that is our neighbor. Not just the person that you love or care about, but anyone, even your enemy, who needs your help. Okay, so that is our neighbor. Now, syempre, in these modern times, we cannot always expect that our life will be called to die for someone. And we do not do washing of the feet anymore, right? And it is not really common now that we see a victim along the road that we can help. So now, how can we love our neighbor in our day-to-day life? How can we translate this into our day-to-day life? So, let us take a look at the various characteristics of love. This we can find in another Bible passage that they always use in weddings. We can see it in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 13, verses 4 to 7. So, ito yun. Okay, so may I ask everyone to read with me? Okay. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. So brothers and sisters, I would like to recommend to you to do this exercise to see how loving you are becoming each day. Maybe every night when you go, before you go to bed and sleep, read this passage. And then, substitute I for love. Or maybe you can make it as a question. So maybe you can ask yourself, was I patient today? Or baka nagalit ako bigla sa estudyante kung hindi nakuha yung lesson agad? Diba? Was I kind? Or did I suddenly criticize my son or daughter who didn't get good with his exams? Was I jealous? Naiingit ba ako dun sa kaibigan kong nag-post na naman ng bagong branded bag sa FB? Diba? Was I proud? Or did I boast? Am I feeling entitled that the world is revolving around me? Was I rude? Or did I give honor and respect to one another? Was I self-seeking? Did I do my duty well? Or am I just focused on having my rights met? Was I quick-tempered? Nagalit ako bigla. Pinost ko sa FB. Nagalit ako. Did I brood over injury? Did I rejoice over wrongdoing? Na we know already that this person is doing something wrong, but we still support him. Did I rejoice with the truth? Did I forbear? Did I trust? Am I hopeful that even if I'm loaded with so much problems right now, but I still hope that everything will be fine because God is with me? Did I endure? Do this, brothers and sisters, to check if you have love that day. Now, question. Do you think Christian love is difficult? Do you think the call to be witness is difficult? If you think Christian love is difficult, yes, you are right. It is very difficult. Sometimes it looks impossible pa nga. With only our human effort, we will fail. But we have God by our side to help us. Brothers and sisters, just come back next week because we still have 4 speakers that will help you to live this kind of love, to live the authentic Christianity. So, back in my story earlier, remember my story how I joined the community? While our only intention is to be involved so that we will be with our friends longer by becoming just an ordinary members, little did we know that God made us so committed by becoming the unit servants in the community. Now I'm standing here in front of you, sharing God's love, sharing my story, so you can also experience God's love, so that in time, you can also share your story. So, God loved us so much, and His plan for all of us is to be with Him, enjoying our rightful place as children of God in heaven, our true home. Jesus showed us the way and want us to be witness of His love. In the CLS, Jesus' invitation is once again revealed to you. That is to love Him as He has loved you, and love your neighbor as yourself. But loving God is not easy. It entails your decision. your commitment. He asks you to love Him with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength, with all your soul. Now it is your decision. There's two decisions. To be involved or to be committed. I will share this last story to you. This is the story of the chicken and the pig. There was a farmer who is very nice to his chicken and the pig. Every day he would clean the pig pen and the chicken's space. Every day they would give them nice food to eat. And then every day he will turn on the radio so that the chicken and the pig will have a nice music during the day. One day, the chicken and the pig talked to each other. The chicken said, "Pig, you know what? I really like our farmer. He's really good to us. He really gives us nice food and keep our place clean. And with our nice music for the day. Then, I want to do something for him so that we can return the goodness in our little way." And the pig answered, "Oh yes, yes. Why don't we cook a nice breakfast for the farmer so that his stomach will be full and have enough energy for the day?" And then the chicken said, "Oh, that's a brilliant idea. I will cook garlic fried rice and I will give some of my eggs for a fried eggs." And then the pig said, "Oh, how about me? What do you want me to do or what do you want me to give?" The chicken said, "Oh, you know what? I heard one time in the neighbor that the farmer really loves a breakfast of garlic fried rice, fried egg, and a fried bacon." So, what do you think happened? And the farmer lives happily ever after, eating his breakfast of garlic fried rice, fried egg, and bacon. Okay, so brothers and sisters, it is your decision now. Are you going to be just like the chicken who is just involved? Or are you going to be the pig who will be totally committed? You are here. You are called to witness, to once again meet Christ, share Christ, and start living Christ as His true disciples. It is your decision. So, you decide, chicken or egg, or pig. And with that, may God be praised. Thank you.